just want to, give a little moment. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for waking up early and coming out. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable with the rest of us. Thank you for supporting each other. Thank you for sharing your love. Thank you to all of you, my Creative Capital family. So, buenos días. My name is Tanya. Gracias. My name is Tanya Aguiñiga. I'm a fiber artist and craft-based community activist. Today is my 41st birthday. Ay, gracias. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to skip. Okay. So I grew up in Tijuana, Mexico, a few blocks from where the U.S. border fence cuts into the Pacific Ocean. I crossed the border into the U.S. every day for 14 years to attend school in the United States. Much of my life was shaped by witnessing thousands of migrants risking their lives every single day to make it into the United States, and by seeing how the U.S. treats our community. Through the 90s and 2000s, I was part of the Border Art Workshop, where I fought for migrant and human rights through site-specific art installation and activism at the border. We made this piece 20 years ago, and sadly today, we find ourselves in a catastrophically worse place. And so in 2016, pre-election, thanks to funds I received from Creative Capital, I founded AMBOS, Art Made Between Opposite Sides, to focus on my border community once again. As part of AMBOS, my femme collaborators and I documented the border landscape, traversing each city with artist liaisons, working with over 50 border artists, crossing the border over 80 times, shooting over 1,000 images, and hundreds of hours of footage and audio landscapes. We carried out performative interventions on the fence and through the fence. And we created a piece called Border Quipu Fronterizo, using the pre-Columbian organizational system of the Andes, the Quipu, as a framework to record our daily migrations to the north and to visualize our collective experience. We handed each person who congregates at the border a postcard that read, "These two strings represent the relationship between the US and Mexico, our two selves at either side of the border and/or our mental state while crossing. Please make a knot." And on the back, they were asked to reflect on their relationship to the border. We did this at every US-Mexico border crossing. We had over 10,000 participants. And whenever possible, each city's knots were displayed at the border. Our engagements focused on those whose lives are affected by border policy, transnational populations, deportees, migrants, and refugees. It took us 3 years of crisscrossing to cover the entirety of the border. Through our engagements, we discovered that each city projected a distinct collective emotion. And you can see there they go from anger to fear, violence, and surprisingly, gratitude. And so now I humbly stand before you, a conduit for the emotions of my border brothers and sisters. Here's some of what they had to say from west to east. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? This is my home, from Tijuana. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? That I will cross for the rest of my life to work, from Otay. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? I cross onto another collective consciousness, from Otay. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? Freedom of speech does not apply when there's borders. Why borders in brother countries? We go to the USA to spend money, from Mexicali. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? I've honestly never thought about it. I've always thought that both sides are my home. I am not from here nor there, from Ojinaga. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? Ignorance in Mexico, hypocrisy in the US, Mexico, weary, USA imperialist, a threat to the world. From Piedras Negras. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? Siento que una gran parte de mí stays on the other side. I feel that a big part of me se queda del otro lado. Nuevo Laredo. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? I haven't crossed the border in 11 years. I was afraid of Mexico. Today, I took the risk to show my children a bit about their ancestors. I am nervous. Nuevo Progreso. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? I see the 90% of people who cross to sell their plasma, blood. Matamoros. What are your thoughts when you cross this border? I don't feel nervous because I'm a good person, but I would prefer if everyone else got treated the same. I tied a surgical knot because I am a Mexican doctor. We aren't all bad. Matamoros. So what we need is just a tiny bit of money, a few $1,000s, to translate and enter the data for 10,000 cards. We already have a qualitative data analyst on board partnering with us. We just want to create a searchable database. We need also a little tiny bit of money for funding to study sister cities that have positive relationships. So studying how Border Patrol sectors, their training, sister city mayors, and artists shaped by national relationships. And all of this is so that we can create a guide for border mayors and artists to help them create more empathy-focused border engagements. We also appreciate if you share the project, if you invite us to come and share the project in your town. We're open to any and pretty much all collaborations. And any flights to Arizona, Texas, comp hotel rooms, whatever. Anything you can do. Muchas gracias, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being, all of you. Thank you.